I'm Tabitha Rock.
And I'm Sam Davenport.
Born and bred in Melbourne, we live and breathe property, and we know the Melbourne market like the back of our hand. We've both been buying and selling real estate in Metro Melbourne for over 2 decades combined, and we've learned a few lessons along the way.
We're back with another episode of Property Culture.
Woohoo!
My co-host with the most, Tabitha Rom.
Loved that. Make that a new thing for every ep, please.
My co-host with the most. She's got all the information. She knows what she's talking about. 20 years in the industry, in the real estate industry, both as a sales agent and a purchasing buyer's agent.
Purchasing consultant.
Purchasing queen.
Funnily enough, a purchasing consultant, just to deviate slightly, is I was speaking to a guy recently that I actually, when I worked with another business, we purchased for him, and then he wanted to get into the property buying advocacy space and started a business. But the business model that he started and built was more of a property consultant. So he would charge at an hourly rate for consultation when people want to purchase, which I thought very interesting concept.
I mean, in a way, I feel like that was how this was born also, was the need for the help. So we had people coming to us. We just obviously chose a different pricing model, but the need was there for the consultation with the information about property, and they just have endless questions about it. But I don't know where he's at in his business journey with that
he found that it was just terribly hard to predict income.
Right.
And so then it wasn't a sustainable business model. So he's not doing it anymore. But I thought it is interesting because we have so many people reach out to us being like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
Flick the link.
Yeah, flick the link. And maybe there is something to a hourly consultancy right.
And we've talked about this before, advocate in your pocket on an app where they can have, X amount of FaceTime with us and blah, 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 whatever that is. But for me, I just always come back to the fact that it's all encompassing. If ever you're having an hour-long chat, you're talking about this part of the whole. And actually, in order for me to really feel like I'm helping you, I've got to be able to help you with the whole. Well, otherwise, I don't feel like I'm helping.
And that's so funny because we have that bid and negotiate only service. And I'm like, it's just not really what I want to help you with because it's so in one specific thing, and we're not zoomed out and we're not taking things into consideration holistically, which funnily enough, we will get to the this week's episode topic, but is what I have a bit of a problem with about the topic that we're talking about today, which is what you can buy with a few different budgets around Melbourne, is that, okay, are we buying for investment? Are we buying for owner-occupied?
What do you already own?
Where's your risk appetite? There's so many different factors. Like I'm working with a client at the moment and we're looking in some of the most blue chip areas in Melbourne, and they keep asking me if areas are good locations. And I'm like, well, yes, but location is so personal preference.
Yes.
And I reflect on Richmond as a suburb that I will tell you the good parts of Richmond and the not good parts of Richmond, but I can't tell you whether you'll like to live in Richmond. Some people love the congestion and the hustle and bustle and you're in the grind and you're really at one with the inner city. And other people, it's their worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So those things, whilst we're going to mention a few suburbs in this podcast, it's not it's just where we're seeing value. I think that's and where those suburbs and property styles are ticking a lot of the boxes, like the suburbs are getting gentrified, or there's access to transport, or government spend is going in, or the properties are built well in this era and look out for that. But obviously, it's nuanced.
Yes.
And because so many people ask me, if investing in Mill, where should I look? And I'm like, okay, well, I need way more information.
Way more information. And that's exactly right. Like, this is exactly the point of that. It's such a big conversation, which is why we have our full service, which really we feel encompasses the whole thing, obviously. But this sort of question is a classic barbecue question. Well, I've got 1.2 to spend, or I've got 800 to invest. What should I buy? Where should I buy? I've got an answer for it.
Yeah.
I have an answer. I mean, if I had, and this is all I'm going to talk to, is if I had 800K, or if I had 1.2, or if I had 2 million, what would I buy?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can talk a little bit to like the type of client who might be looking with that budget, and it might suit as well.
Yeah.
But do you want to kick us off with your 800K?
I will. And clearly I'm going to be chatting to the areas that
Me too.
I know, which is the North and the Wild West. And look, I think that there's some great villa units in the inner north for 800. Villa units typically built in the 80s, sometimes between 3 and 6 on the block. I call them mini houses. You've got a piece of land that you can call your own. Yes, you're part of a body corporate, very basic budget body corporate. They're paying for public liability on the driveway and really not much else.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of, garden maintenance here and there, and maybe some common electricity, but very, very low maintenance. They are hopefully a bit dated, so you can have that aspect of value add. And then looking over in the north, the next one would be Fawkner. Although Fawkner, which I've loved for so many years, I've been buying there for sort of 8 years for owner-occupiers and investors. 800 is becoming a little tight unless you want really the house that you can it will fall down in the wind, because there are a lot of interstate investors going in there. I think I spoke to an agent late last year in that pocket, and he reckons he sold 30 Fawkner homes to one buyer's advocacy firm. And I'm always I'm always a bit stressed by that, because I do think that that's that agency creating a market, inflating a market. But yeah, I think that you within 15 Ks of the CBD, you're getting 550 square meters of land.
Yeah.
It's not too shabby.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, my purchase that I'd make is similar in property type, but just in the other area, in the opposite direction, way, way further from the CBD. But you might argue, or I would argue, more lifestyle location along the beach, of course, down in favourite Frankston.
Right now.
800K is going to get you a 3-bedroom unit, not in the Kringle part of Frankston, but more towards the beach side of the suburb, which is great. Great buying. There's still a lot of value in that. They're usually, obviously, they're low density, but there's only between commonly, 3 to 6 or 4 to 8 on the block, low body corporate fees, good size unit where you could very comfortably have a tenant who has children, 1 or 2 children, or a downsizer who lives locally, or a young couple, who the spectrum of future buyer and potential tenant is really broad, which really helps underpin the value for any investment property is who's going to want this when you go to sell it, and is there going to be competition? And I just think that a lot of those units out there, they were built in that classic, 70s, 80s time period where they were just built really well. They were built to last. They've proven their structure over time. Very unusual to see cracks in these builds that you see down that way. It's just such a no-brainer of a purchase. 800K, that's where I'd go. Outside of that, if it's straight investment and I'm looking, to make capital growth, I mean, you'd possibly engage another advocate, not myself, to take me further into some sort of growth corridor that I don't know about yet. Teach me something I don't know, take me somewhere I've never been before. But that to me has a little bit more of a high risk to it. I think it's really safe to be purchasing something like what you've just mentioned, or a unit in Frankston. 3 bedrooms, one bathroom. It will always have one bathroom with a separate toilet, but a big laundry room, which has the potential to make a second bathroom, lock-up garage, plus often a second off-street car park, plenty of on-street parking. The streets are looking good. It's a no-brainer. The demand is there for the rentals and for the sales. So you should be fine.
Well, it's funny you mentioned, going into some sort of growth corridor that you don't sort of know. And funnily enough, I've got an investment property out near Ballarat. But so I'm big fans of sort of country Victoria, if you can call Ballarat country Victoria. But I was speaking to a potential client the other day and, we were chatting about a few different areas for their budget. And we said a few options. One was within 15 Ks of the CBD and one was about 30, 40 Ks. And you can sort of gather what areas we're probably talking about. We've covered them in this podcast. Anyway, and she's like, oh, well, I think would prefer with the 15K option because our financial planner who they've come from has recommended sort of, maximum 20Ks from the CBD.
Yeah.
And I said, I understand that in principle. However, along the bay, you can stretch that out to the 30, 35Ks from the CBD because it's got the access to transport and because, more importantly, it's got the lack of area. So you've got a finite amount of land along the peninsula, whereas if you're going in a growth corridor inwards of Victoria, you've got unlimited land.
Yes.
And so I think that makes the proposition of the peninsula different and really interesting and exciting. I mean, you look at any coast along Australia and it's all highly sought after real estate.
Yeah.
And so, I think that makes that scarcity an interesting aspect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just with a few extra 100K.
Okay.
We've found an extra 400K.
Yeah. Our lovely parents have given it to us.
Perhaps.
Or we've won the lottery.
More likely parents.
Well, I think I want to win the lottery. Less strings.
Yeah. Distant relative dead. No strings.
Okay. We love that as well.
Or you just worked really hard and you spoke to a really good broker and they're like, no, you can borrow 1.2.
Yes.
So now you've got 1.2. Where are we going now?
Okay, well, obviously we're getting a nice piece of land.
Yes,
but not too big because I'm not going too far away from the city. I actually think that there's still some great houses that you can purchase around Sed and Yarraville for that sort of money. And I think that it's actually still quite undervalued.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's got great village vibe. You've got the transport. I think the whole western corridor of Melbourne will dramatically transform once the tunnel is completed in 2050,000.
I know. Will we see it?
Yeah. And so you can even get sort of sub that number with some potential to renovate and update. You know, 200, 300 square meters.
Yeah.
So I love that as an option around the 1-2 budget. But again, is it for lifestyle? Is it for investment?
Exactly.
Is it what are you looking for? But I think it suits sort of professionals. It suits families. It suits singles. It's just got a really lovely feel over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I'd still be looking at it from a little bit more from the investment lens perspective with the 1.2, and I'd be sort of heading probably to Cheltenham.
Yep.
For a freestanding 3-bedroom, unrenovated period home, like a 1950s brick home, really typical of that area on, between 500 and 600 square metres of land. Great. And it's really suburban. It's really quiet in Cheltenham. It's just really nice, wide tree-lined streets. There's not a lot of through traffic happening there, obviously staying off the main roads. But there's definitely still options and opportunities there. And what you tend to find is a lot of people, buyers now, and we know with time this will change, and that's why I think there's a lot of value to be had there. Majority of the people or the buyers who've got 1.2 to spend and they're looking roughly in that area, what they're saying on their brief is they want beach side of the highway, which doesn't include this area of Cheltenham that I'm referring to, which I think, a 500 and something square metre block of land in a nice quiet residential street with a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, unrenovated but good, okay, reasonable condition period home on the block for 1.185. I mean, really? Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure, because the people who are looking down there, they get confused and they want to go back over the beach side of the highway. Really, because that beach side of the highway that's adjacent to Cheltenham is essentially like an industrial area. But you definitely want that part because it's technically beach side of the highway.
I think that people love just saying, I live
beach side of the highway. 100%. And that's where I think people get really what's the word? Shaded, graded, shaded, jaded. Jaded. They get jaded by these self-imposed parameters and they miss opportunity for sure. I mean, all the buyers that we've worked with over the last 5-7 years, the opportunity that was or has been there in that just over missed.
Well, it's funny. I was just going to mention about this budget and the typical buyer profile is, young professional couples have this budget because usually that's about
double income, no kids.
Double income, no kids. That's about $500,000 worth of debt each, which is manageable for a lot of people. And they think that with 1.2, you're getting a really polished house.
Oh, yeah.
They want a polished house. They hear the $1 million that they're spending and they immediately like, oh, my God, I can't get the shabby bathroom, the shabby kitchen, the shabby, the garden that's looking disheveled and overgrown. Yeah, 1.2 is the new 900,000.
Totally.
You know?
1.2. I mean, the more typical budget for a double income, no kids first home buyer is 1.35. So if you've got 1.2, you're already on the back foot.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a really tough price point to find something that's not hotly contested.
Mind you, I always laugh when we do our off-market calls and I always say to myself, if I had $1 for every time I call an agent with a brief and they're like,
oh, you won't get that.
That's a tough budget. That price bracket. I'm like, yeah, but if I told you I had $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, 500,000, every time I pick up the phone to you, you're going to tell me this is a tough price bracket.
Yeah, or they say like, we've got nothing. Yeah. There's nothing.
Oh.
Watch me find it.
I know. And also I'm giving you 3 examples of proproperties that I would have bought.
Sold.
Yeah, under budget.
I know.
So it exists.
It exists.
But
yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
It's funny. 1.2.
1.2.
Oh God, it sounds like a lot. It is a lot of money. We're not taking away from that.
It's a lot to pay back.
Oh yeah,
it's
30
a lot
years.
to pay back. Yeah,
married.
And interestingly, with these people who we're referring to, the people who are oftentimes double income, no kids yet, that sort of time frame in life, early 30s as an example, first time buyers. Very soon after the purchase, they often go down to one income. And, you know, and so to be able to manage whatever the loan volume is with one income versus the two, it's a big change. It's a big shift. And that one income doesn't necessarily come back to two income for many years.
Well, funnily enough, this is the stuff that we were talking about with Ray a couple of episodes earlier that, you know, you need to think about your situation holistically.
Yeah.
What are the next 4 years of your life looking like? Because that's your property ownership years. So having the plan right from the start, very smart, because we don't want to buy and sell real estate that often because it's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stamp duties, the Gov loves us.
Yeah, I know. Less than a handful of times we've had calls back from clients who've only just purchased and you're like, oh, God, that wasn't part of the plan.
Yes, but we know that things change in people's lives.
Things change. And look, every time these people have sold the property, they've always done well enough out of it. It's tough ask to sell something, but they've always got back and that little bit more back from the purchase, which goes to show the value in the purchase. But anyway, $2 million.
Oh, I like this bracket.
2 milli.
2 milli.
I don't know. I feel like I'm like everyone else where I just start to increase my expectations and then it still feels tight.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, all these purchases I'm thinking about, I'm buying something to update and renovate. So,
every time. Yeah. Every one of them.
My 2 mil budget isn't even getting me a turnkey home.
No,
I'm
definitely
doing a
not.
new kitchen,
I've
a
moved
new
just
bathroom.
location.
Yeah. And it's funny, I've had a recent brief at this sort of budget, a little bit over, and I'm finding some – obviously we're getting a big home.
Yep.
I love Ashburton.
Where? Okay, yeah, Ashburton.
I love Ashburton.
My house is getting smaller.
Yeah.
Go on, yeah, Ashburton.
Yeah, okay. Is it? You're going to Armidale or something. I love Ashburton and I also love Alphington.
Yeah.
So those two areas, I think there's some great purchases around the 2 mil mark. It won't be super schlick, but you can get, proximity to villages, train stations, good schools, good parks.
Yeah.
You're still close to the CBD. Some really beautiful real estate. A lot sells in Ashburton, probably pre-market, just due to the person selling the stock, and they want sort of quiet, easy. But a lot in Alphington goes on market because it's such a tightly held area and everyone snaps it up. But you can still get some good homes there.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of struggled with this because I was like, immediately I was like, just a house in St Kilda East, 3-bedroom house on like a reasonably good sized block. But that's just so specific to my life today.
Yeah.
And now it's a bit short-sighted.
What happened in Carlisle Street just the other day?
Well, I thought about that as well, which is then what pushed me out to think of now, okay, where else would I go? And then it's like, realistically, I'd go to Mount Eliza.
Beautiful.
But then I already used Frankston as the example. And actually the truth is that I'd go to Frankston South, not Mount Eliza, because Frankston South, you've got way more value, and with $2 million you can buy over 1,000 square metres of land easily, like no difficulty, backs onto Sweetwater Creek, walk down to the beach, all of these amazing factors. But then because I used Frankston as my example already, I seem like I'm obsessed with Frankston. And I'm
That's
not.
not a bad thing. It's a vibe down there. I went
great.
for a drink Christmas time down there and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. But then I was like, okay, let me look and see, because Carnegie was my old flame, but really the value's gone from there for the moment in terms of being able to buy something that's big and you can renovate, and they're much more fewer and further between. So it's not necessarily going to be my choice. And then I was like, Malvern, Armidale, would you get something smaller, a split block? There's lots of options. But the thing for me about St Kilda East is that for $2 million for high ones, you can get quite gorgeous period homes that are nicely sized. And I just love the property type so much. And for me, I love that it's a manageable size, because now this is owner-occupier.
Yep.
And it feels really manageable. It feels really like easy to live in, there's a lot about it.
Yeah,
a lot of thought went into this one, but I was like, I'm jumping around in location, but I'm definitely picking like a St Kilda East for the property type and proximity to our office, to my clients and where I'm looking to buy.
Yeah.
And then if I'm going with like the ultimate, where would you really want to live? It's definitely Frankston South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a beautiful lifestyle location.
Yeah.
I mean, an ex-boyfriend had a house down there, which I convinced him not to sell.
Did he sell it?
He didn't. He just moved closer to the city and rented. And I'm like, I almost want to call him and be like, hey, I did you such a favour because it's such a hot commodity now. It'd be worth, Anyway, he did
I
well.
helped
You're
put
welcome.
an old flame in Frankston before it.
I know.
Good for him.
Good for him. We're buying in. Where did you go over the break? What suburb are we buying in now?
Oh, no, I don't want to tell everyone.
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh, my God, it's top secret until it happens.
Yeah,
We don't
true.
want anything happening there until we've secured.
Yeah, well, it's in New South Wales and it's on the coast and it's in a very lovely part of town, which is still affordable. But
I'm excited for that. Let's find another one. We almost bought one yesterday.
yeah, we're, rogue behaviour.
Bit rogue.
But with the budget conversation, it's important for buyers to know that they can buy great real estate at any budget, because they always come to us and they're like, oh, we've only got 800 or we've got 1.2, but if we had 1.3, we
Always.
could get X, Y, and Z.
If I had 6 million, I should have 7.
Yeah,
Everyone says that.
Everyone at every budget wants more, wants better, wants bigger,
Always.
wants closer, wants X, Y, and Z. We can find you great real estate at any price bracket. Yes, that will come with some compromises, and there will be larger conversations we will have with you around the goals, around the why, I just met with potential clients the other day and they were sort of saying, should we buy in Collingwood where we're renting or buy further out in Blackburn? Okay, well, I mean,
Up to you, number one.
Yeah, I can buy you great real estate either way.
Either one.
I know which one will go up more, and we can show you that based on compounding capital growth rates of recently sold properties in both areas. And so the data will show you and tell you. But ultimately, will you enjoy your life in Blackburn?
And will you want to sell it sooner, which eliminates the capital growth conversation? That's something else. So that's where when we're talking about, the strategy that comes into play. I mean, property isn't perfect, but whatever budget you have, put a strategy in place to buy the best thing you can afford in an area that's going to make sense for you, very specific to you, what you want, what you need.
But I think it's funny because the people that are in the inner city, and I put myself in this category too because I've never lived outside of 3 kilometres from the CBD. And I had friends recently that lived in Richmond and they were like, oh, God, got multi-kids, so moved out to Eltham, and they are loving their life. They would never move back in.
Yeah.
Even the drive doesn't bother them because they think they go out to treetop heaven, and they're like, we'll probably even do further out.
Yes.
And they just thought that it would destroy their lifestyle moving out in this area, but knew they had to for kids and space and all that sort of thing. So, moving out can be a great decision financially and lifestyle. We're not saying moving out is going to kill your lifestyle because it's not Collingwood, but
no, definitely not.
But I often recommend people just grab an Airbnb out in a certain area.
Test it out.
I think I've said that before, but that, is so good. House sit. Find, a pet sitting job or something and stay in an area and see if you like it, because if you move, and I educated these clients that you can always buy the real estate, move there for 12 months. If you hate it, you just rent it out and move back in.
Yeah.
So it isn't the worst scenario, but you do need to have a plan B if you don't like that lifestyle.
100%. And same goes if you're looking to buy it as an investment, and what if you need to get out of it within the next year or two, what happens?
Yeah.
What's the plan? What's the goal? And that's why putting together your plan of attack is always the first step. Whether you've got 800 to spend, 1.2 to spend, or 2 million to spend, you need to know what the purpose is of the purchase and what the plan is for, ideally, at a minimum, the next 5 years.
Season 1,
Season
episode 1,
guys. Season 1. Hello.
Go back. Have a listen.
101.
The gold is in there about setting this foundational strategy.
And that is going to guide any decision making, no matter what budget you've got and no matter where you're looking to buy, is if you just get the foundations right from the start, you should be fine. You should be fine.
You said it.
Love it.
F, marry, kill. We need a little jingle that goes with that, do you think?
I don't know. I feel like that really annoying voice from me was really great.
Oh.
That's going to get deep in the ears.
That is going deep, and so isn't that laugh of mine, that cackle.
I know.
Gross,
oh, God. When you listen to it back, it's my laugh sometimes horrific. F, marry, kill.
Mm-hmm.
Budget strategy edition. Budget strategy edition. There's too many D's. Never. Okay, stretching. I always think put a little bit of gold for the people who are here at the end.
Yes.
100. Put a little joke.
100%.
That came off the top of my head, that one. Okay, stretching the budget for the dream home. Buying under budget and renovating later. Buying at the top of your limit and doing nothing.
Oh, I'm marrying buying under budget and renovating later, because
100%.
I don't want to eat Maggi
There's
noodles.
no other right answer to this.
Yeah, I'm not eating Maggi noodles, and I'm in love with the idea of value adding and manufacturing my own growth with my real estate. Definitely effing the stretching my budget dream home.
For the dream home, because what a great moment.
And
I know.
Also,
you can handle it.
I can always maybe cut down on a few coffees, You
can definitely do a belt tighten, and you're in your dream home, so you're happy to do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then, killing.
Buying at the top of your limit and doing nothing. No joy, no dream, no renovations for fun.
Ew.
Ewy.
Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope that was helpful.